Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I will be just providing my thoughts on a new video that Ben has put up. That's Mr. Ben Brown on YouTube. And some thoughts on his video and the reactions that people have had to it. In this video he speaks about two versions of himself, the pre-awakening Ben and the post-awakening Ben. And then this change happened around the time that he had this injury on his motorcycle and went through some serious depression and some revelations. And he's considering these two versions to be when he felt that he was maybe more real or more aware of himself, or maybe more genuine. And I'd just like to read through some comments that people have had on this video, because I think it's a good time for us to just reflect on how we treat people online and whether the way that we act is in line with their own values and whether it reflects how we would like to be treated ourselves. Now, I've been watching Ben for I think like 7 years or something before I moved to Melbourne, and I got to see him grow up as a YouTuber and become quite successful and spend time with Fun for Louie and go on all these awesome adventures. He had a great time in South Africa. He's still living there, and also through this transition phase for him where he's had some large changes and is now this different person, or seemingly entirely different person if you look at it from the eyes of some people. And some of the comments here on this video appear to be stating that someone can't change, or that he has changed and that it's a bad thing in some way. I would like to be able to describe in this video that it is true that people do change, and sometimes that they change in a way that we no longer relate to. That isn't a bad thing, but it just simply means that our relationship with that person may end, or that we may not see them anymore, and that the way that we react to these changes have some real impacts on that person in particular. Ben mentions in this video that he found it very difficult to separate his emotions from the comments that he gets on these videos. I'm certain that it had a large impact on his well-being throughout his career here on YouTube. And so I would just like to analyze some of these comments, and I hope to show that the way that they're written may have an impact on somebody, and maybe that these comments mightn't reflect how someone would react to a person as if they were their friend and you knew them in person and you were having this kind of conversation with them in person as well, whether you would say the same things or act the same way yourself. Because we know that online we seem to have this persona that we can put on, and of course there is no accountability online. You can create an account and say what you like, and for somebody who can't separate their emotions or finds it very difficult to do that, what you say can have a real effect on that person. Anyway, let's jump into some of these comments. The first one says, "I used to watch you for years, Ben. I started probably 6 years ago. It's nice to see people change, and it's only natural with time. But you seem different. You helped me out at the toughest and darkest time of my life to date for years. And I will always remember and be thankful to you. This new mentality seems a little weird, forced, and extreme. I really hope you're not having some self-crisis issue in your life, but I do wish you well. I understand that you want people to keep their opinions to themselves, but you having such a big impact on my life, I wouldn't want to end this without closure." So this person probably has had a similar relationship or a similar experience as a lot of people here who watch Ben's videos. They were always entertaining and maybe were a great escape for myself from the things that I was dealing with at the time, and this person found it very helpful, and at the worst times in their lives that it was great watching Ben. And they're saying now that he's got this new mentality that they have to part ways, and which is totally reasonable, and it may be the case for this person. They say that his new mentality may be forced and extreme, and it certainly is very different to the way that Ben acted in the past. However, this new mentality, or the way that Ben carries himself now? Is this different version a bad thing, or is it simply just maybe an evolution or a chapter in Ben's life? And does our reacting to his changes in maybe a way which says that it's weird, and does our reactions when we say it may be weird or extreme, is it really fair? After all, people change in many different ways. They say, I hope you're not having some self-crisis issue in your life. And Ben's already mentioned that he has been through this, and that this transitionary period occurred or started to occur when he had this motorcycle accident back 2 years ago now. Sorry, one full calendar year. There are other people here who are super happy with his changes. Raya, who is actually, I guess, the wife of Fun for Louie, says she's so happy to see him vlogging again, and she's also in love with all the plants that they have in their apartment, which is cool. And there's many more people that are very happy for Ben. I miss your daily content, but I love that you are meditating and putting your health and happiness first, which is great, of course. Ben has used some terminology in this video which has some connotations as being self-entitled or pretentious. He calls himself awakened, and often that can mean that someone considers themselves more learned than people around them, or that they know something that other people don't. But it doesn't appear that Ben is approaching this in that way at all. So maybe there's a bit of a not a miscommunication, but a misunderstanding here. And so calling himself awakened is really just a way for him to say that he feels as though now he truly understands how he wants to live his life and how he actually feels, and that maybe he is no longer living in a way that he may have felt contradictory, or maybe that it wasn't genuine. And he said in this video that he had actually prepared an entire vlog, a 10-minute vlog, but he felt like he didn't want to upload it because it was like the old Ben, and that was not reflecting how he truly feels now. And surely that's fine, and it's okay to share with people the way that you feel is most accurate for yourself. Another piece of terminology that he used was woke, but I don't think he really jumped into it. That word tends to be a little bit memey. Someone who considers themselves woke, people are jumping with this similar awakened terminology as it being pretentious, and someone having this higher level of understanding. Ben may feel as though he knows more about himself now, not that he knows more about the entire universe and how the entire planet works. It appears that Ben is just becoming more comfortable in himself. Someone says, side note, anyone that says they are woke isn't really woke. You don't need to say it, it's in your actions. Yeah, again, it doesn't seem as though that's the way Ben is approaching it. It's simply a way of describing how he feels now. This awakening sounds like a personality crisis. New Ben seems a bit forced. Some of these comments may be said because they haven't been watching some of Ben's previous videos, more recent videos, where he describes this transitionary process. Ben's already been through these changes, and it doesn't seem to be a crisis now. Maybe in the past, but no longer. It seems as though he's feels genuine. Someone says, okay, so Gutted had to unsub. You just said people can keep their opinions to themselves, that you don't care what people say now, and you're woke. So once again, I think we understand what that means now. Yeah, I can't watch anymore. It's almost like since you met this new girl, someone has spun your mind right around. It sucks, but bye, man. Hard to watch. And yeah, I think when we meet new people, certainly we change. Maybe we try and align with their values a little bit, and this is an unconscious thing. Although I really seriously think that Ben is capable of deciding for himself. He's an adult human being, and it would be very surprising if Ben was totally controlled by somebody else, and had his perceptions of reality changed just by this one person. it appears to be a process that he has came to decide which is correct for him. Don't know why people feel as though he may be unaware of what's happening to himself. The whole way that Ben has been reacting is that he feels as though he understands himself better now than he did in the past. So yes, Ben is different, but it's not a bad thing. It's just that Ben is different and you may not relate to him anymore. One more comment says, Ben, it's great to see you vlogging again, but I wanted to tell you that some of us are worried about you, given that most of us were introduced to you pre-awakening. The change we are seeing is different, or it's just strange. I understand how traumatic events can change people, and sometimes it can be a good change. Sometimes it can also be bad, and it can really hurt someone's personality. So I'd like to think here, this changes that Ben has had in his own personality, are they really considered to be detrimental, or are they just simply different? I think we can come to the conclusion here that the changes are just a natural process, and the effects that they have are totally outside of your own life. Whether we perceive them as good or bad doesn't change how the person themselves feels. And Ben clearly feels as though it's a good change for himself, and so that's that. They continue to say, if it is good, then that's great. If this is the healthiest and happiest you've ever been, that's wonderful, and we will accept that, or try to at least. And that's actually a really good thing to say. That's all that we can do with anybody that we come across. It's great to accept people for who they are, and whether their personality is in line with ours or not, or whether they change, then they change. It's just how life goes. Please don't misunderstand this or most of the comments as negative. We just don't want you to get lost. You're a constant inspiration to us, Ben, and we'd hate to see you get hurt. And so I think Ben has passed the stage of getting hurt from this, and maybe a lot of these comments could be read in a way which is negative, but and some probably are negative. I think everybody's just processing Ben's changes in their own way. I think it's just a good time for us to step back and consider whether the changes that he is going through, whether us reacting to them in the way that some people have, saying that he's kind of lost his mind or that he's gone really weird, whether him changing is actually a bad or a strange thing, or it's wrong, or whether it's just him living his life and how he's a little bit different, and you can like him or not like him, and it doesn't really matter in the end. And so I think that's all I really like to say. Just that Ben is working on his own path, and yeah, he's a little different now, but whatever, doesn't matter. So thanks for watching. This has been a little bit of a sidetrack video. In the future, I'd like to make some more vegan orientated videos, but I just felt this needed to be addressed because Ben's probably not going to really address much of it, as he's already expressed. If you think I've said something that's inaccurate, just let me know by commenting below. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.